So welcome back to Court 1. We now have a very big game in both teams' campaign. We've got England mixed against Sweden mixed. I'm joined by John Rutland, formerly England manager, now BD representative. What's the official title?
Thanks, Greg. The official title is Director of National Teams, so I've got the privilege of supporting all the home nations here this weekend.
And that's it. And I feel like, England are definitely, I know it's 3 years ago, we had a bit of a ropey year. I mean, maybe not ropey is probably the right word, because that just sounds like you did horrendously, but, you came third in both the mixed and the men's.
Mixed and men's,
and the women's came second. This time around, definitely looking to take all three. Austria did it last time around. It's definitely England are up there in terms of some of the greats. We was talking about it earlier. I know we're looking at mixed, but it'll definitely be something we talk about over the weekend. Women now haven't won since 2014, but they've always been up there at the top. It's just never quite finding the mark in the final. Definitely a great team.
Yeah, I think it's adding a couple of years with no competition makes that look a lot worse than it is really, and the girls came close time and time again and losing some of those finals in really tough situations. So they had the success in 2018 at the WDA Dodgeball World Cup where they beat Austria in the final to be world champions. So the girls have had success within that time, just not at this competition currently, and I'm sure they're really keen over this weekend to make up for that.
Yeah. So they're up against Sweden mixed, who this year have added a couple of extra players now into their mixed division. It's always been one of those teams. They've been up there in terms of the men division, in the men's division. Their ranking is 5th. In 2019 they placed 6th. But over the years they've started to actually realise maybe we're actually really good at dodgeball and we should take this a lot more seriously. So now they're taking it seriously.
Yeah, definitely. I've had a lot of conversations with some of the Swedish coaches, and that seriousness added to their raw talent they've had for many years is potentially a really good mixture of opportunity for them really coming in over the next couple of days. So I'm really excited to see how this Swedish mixed team perform and see how they play against the experience of England.
So one of those key names that in that Sweden squad, who's definitely brought a lot of tactics to the side, Ben McAdam, formerly known as Schwetlik.
Yes.
I think that's a nickname. That's not his actual name, is it? It was his name. Yeah. Okay. So I always just thought it was a nickname that they called him. Okay, so Ben McAdam brings a lot of tactics and a lot of experience. He used to play over in England.
He was at Warwick University.
Okay.
It's where he first found the sport, and then represented England at both the London and Stockholm games in 2010 and 2011, and had the pleasure to coach him back then. But as you say, he's taken a lot of dodgeball experience over to Sweden, where he now lives, and that talent that he's got and knowledge has really added value to the Swedish setup. I'm sure this is one that Ben will want to get one over England, so I'm sure they're ultra prepared to try and maximise on potentially some of England's weaknesses.
One of those European teams that definitely has a lot of handballing background. We don't really play it that much in England. Probably only one of the players that has played it is Aidan Woodall, not out there this year with England, but definitely has handball experience. Sweden this year brought in a lot more handballing experience, normally about 7 foot tall with arms, probably also 7 foot in length, but definitely here to take it a lot more seriously this year. But I know England will also want to put some points on the board and win this game as well. It's definitely one of those teams that taking them down is great for your campaign over the whole 4 days, but I'm sure England can do this.
We'll have to see. The Swedish, they're just going into a team huddle before the referees start the game. England had a strong first game on court number 3, where their throwing was looking really strong. But again, they've had a bit of a break now. The girls have just played as well, so this is going to be an interesting first few games. Can Sweden take advantage of maybe a little bit of tiredness in the women, or are England going to start with a bit of a dominating fast start? Nice to see the players shaking hands before the games as well. This might have been something that we would have lost potentially, but it's really nice to see that that the handshakes and high fives are all back before the games.
Exactly. And plenty of experience in the England mixed squad, but we've definitely got some new blood in there, some old faces returning. Brett obviously makes his, not really a debut, but he didn't play out in 2019, but he's back for the England squad this time around. You've got some new blood in there also. None that start, I believe, but...
yeah, we've got Bree starting on the right-hand side.
Okay.
So Bree's new into the team.
Yeah. And it'll be that centre ball they're both after, but it's fought between them both. Harrison does just pick it up, but no fast start. And Brett with a counter, but a good block from Torkelson.
So a couple of early single ball releases there from both teams, just trying to fill their way into the game.
Yeah, and some returning faces from Sweden out here yet again. Akna, number 55, she returns. Sarafic on that left side. And Sweden look for that ball that gets popped up in the air, but they don't find it. They're back with 3 balls now and a single ball mixed, taking it very, very slow, both sides. Nothing super aggressive just yet. Single balls only so far.
So as expected, a lot of the throwing is coming from the men in both teams so far, and it's interesting to see as the players go down how then the women mix in with the male fast throws from both teams. But again, Sweden coming up with a 3-ball attack, but just releasing the one. And that hit on Brett there as well.
Yeah, that's a big out there. Brett's certainly the main caller in this squad, and he likes to lead a lot of the team, but that is a great pick-up from Brie Darcy.
Oh, but there was looks like a 1-for-1.
And that is a hectic amount of plays there. A catch gets pulled in, someone gets called in. It's now the 3 women left for both teams.
So again, a good 2-ball hit there from England for the player on the right-hand side.
And it's something that you were speaking about just a second ago, that in terms of the women getting mixed into the play. Obviously, Brie Darcy takes that massive catch and pulls out Sarafic on the left side.
England will be really happy there with that 1-for-1 exchange, leaving them still 1 player up. Still plenty of time on the clock. And a nice simple double running counter to finish the games off there.
So England close out the first set, and it's a good first set from them. So they go 2 up into this game. A very close game so far. Both taking their outs, 1-for-1s in every aspect, and a great catch from Brie Darcy, changing that set around.
Sweden always had the opportunity there to come out on top of that manic couple of seconds, but England just managed to keep a grip and stay ahead in the game. So again, another single ball release from the off from England, winning the middle ball. And
Matthew Josiah, that sort of play style that he's always been used to, that cross court, 1 ball, picks up the back foot. So England up 1 player from that Matthew Josiah throw.
Sweden looking to try and get a bit of an advantage there with a standing counter, but the ball just misses the front player in the middle. Good honesty there from the Swedish player.
Yeah,
felt
very.
Hit and raised his hand straight away. Great to see. Again, England just reading the play really well and just pricking off the players as they're tracking back.
So England a lot more clinical in this set. A good 2 throws there. Good timing from Brie and Matthew Josiah. And a good hit out from Brett Koenig on that right side there. A nice second set there. They made it a lot easier in the second set than they did in the first.
Looks like a change of personnel there for Sweden. Just trying to freshen it up.
And a one ball from Matthew Josiah there.
Alex Harrison getting a hit on Ben there, both former teammates of Warwick University.
Yeah.
Definitely the one Alex would be looking for there.
And great aggressive plays there from England there, straight up on that, on the running counter, just making sure that when your first player has released that ball, there's cover coming from the back.
Yeah, really smart play there. So again, a bit of pressure from Brett there.
Oh,
and makes that look really easy. He had absolutely no right to catch that there, but again,
that's what he does so well. It's in that position, you know, when in that slide back, the tombstone style catch that a lot of people call.
He looks for it all the time, and he's very successful with it.
Two balls get thrown by Hems and Josiah, but none find the target.
Again, a really nice, simple double running counter to finish off the game there. The English players are really kind of just taking their time, not rushing at it, and just picking the players off, and it's great to see.
Yep. And despite the 6-0 lead in this game so far, Sweden have been close in these couple of sets. But it will often be, in terms of mixed especially, how much damage limitation is actually put across. Especially, you know, those two best third-seeded teams out of the groups make it through. So that's a good hit there. The pressure needs to be on for the ball that's left in the neutral zone.
Sweden coming out really fast in this second, or in one of these games. The fourth game, we're definitely in the fourth game, not second. A couple of one-for-ones there.
Yeah. Brett doesn't quite take that catch at backcourt. So we're 4-4 now in players. Sweden really have to be looking at taking this set.
And England getting 2 outs there from Sweden, leaving just 2 players left in with them with 1 player advantage. Again, 2 really good throws there from the English women, getting the hit.
Yeah. So only Werner left in now. Good running counter. Looks for the catch from Josiah, but doesn't quite pick it up. So after this game, we will go into a lunch break, but we'll be back here after the lunch for the Scotland-Switzerland in the men's division. I'll be joined by John again, but there's a full start in this set, and Sweden make the full start, so England are given that ball for free.
So how are England going to use this middle ball here? Are they going to charge up and try and collect the 5? Yes,
and
they are.
Do just that. We've seen that pretty much every time there's been a full start. There was one time where they ran for the ball. They got one out. So really, when you look at stuff like that, you get 4 balls from the start.
And England not making any hits off of the 5-ball advantage there. They'll be disappointed with that.
And that's a great standing there from Koenig. He sees that the central player's been left in by himself. And a nice bit of cover up there from Adler, but Josiah's also there to provide cover if that ball gets released. The ball gets popped up in the air and the catch gets made. But there's a line infringement first, so no catch is made.
A few comments from the players that there's quite a lot of lines on the court this weekend, but I'm sure after a few games they'll get used to it.
And some acrobatics displayed there by Matthew Josiah. Sarafitz just off court there. Feels like he's maybe twinged his ankle a little. And it is very hard. As much as you might be a dodger, it's hard to dodge out of the 4 balls, especially from England.
The Swedish, known for their creative dodging, just trying to do something different there. But as you say, when being faced with 4 balls, it's a pretty impossible task.
And from the Josiah couple, a perfect running counter. Delivered almost perfectly.
Just over 4.5 minutes left of this half. England taking a dominating 10-0 lead.
Oh, and the catch almost looks like it's plucked up by Vilkuten, but isn't quite secured. Koenig with a single ball block. And England are happily just going to sit back, block as much as they can. They're 5 sets up. Oh, and it's that cross-court single ball that you've seen every time.
Just wraps his hand just around that ball, and it's an absolute perfect swing. Really unpredictable to read as well when you're looking at the player straight in front of you.
And Koenig with the single ball and catch, and a good finish on the double running from England. They're just making all the right decisions in this game. There's a reason they're 12 up, you know, both teams just as good as each other, and it could really at some points gone toe to toe, but we've seen England just closing out these sets so perfectly. And number 25 doesn't even need to go for that catch there. They've already got 6 players up, but decides to go for it. Nero, she drops the catch and puts herself out for the risk of no one.
It's really tempting when that ball pops up there. You just want to secure it. But as you said, was it worth it? Probably not.
Ben McAdam there can't, as good as he can be at times, it's hard to do as much as you can with 1 ball in your hand and 3 coming your way. Now, play ball being called. Josiah and Koenig happily just going to, even if he gets it out there, that's a perfect 1-for-1 trade. He makes the hit and doesn't get out anyway, but it's when you're up, you know, 5-2, those 1-for-1 trades can be perfect. And there you go, yet again, a perfect running counter from the England side.
That game, again, just over a minute there. England are really racking up these sets at this moment in time, and they'll want to keep this momentum going.
And although this year, there is another tournament this year, we've got Worlds later on in Canada. This won't be a qualifier for that, but I believe in the years to come, Europeans will be a qualifier for. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so, and that's the discussions, and we definitely want that qualification to the tournament. It's great that this year's Worlds is a return and an open element to it, so anyone can go, and plenty of teams that are preparing to go over to Canada. So hopefully in the future Euros will be being used as that qualification event, but I don't think it's quite decided yet, but I think it will be decided fairly soon. Sweden doing really well here to find themselves 2 players up.
Yeah.
Sweden getting the 1-for-1 there as well.
And that's a good 1-for-1. Like we said, when you're that many players up, a 1-for-1 can be so clinical in terms of the play style. Abigail on the cross court makes the hit onto Torkelson. Harrison left in, and a good dodge there. Oh, when you're throwing single balls at Harrison when he's back of court is one of the craziest things you could ever do, because you probably know it's going to be picked up. And good honesty there from Werner. She gets hit out by one of the balls, and with that catch brings on Koenig. So certainly one of the good balls to come on, and Harrison closes out the set.
England found themselves there in a little bit of a sticky situation, but again kept their heads, made some really good decisions, got a few 1-for-1s, and then that key catch from Alex Harrison there, just switching the play up.
And it's those players that you look at time and time again in terms of that reliability. You know what is you're going to play for. Yep, so it will be a 90-second set. I think they were speaking a bit about jewellery in that situation. So with a 90-second set, what can they do? But they're hit out by 2 balls. Perfect standing counter from Koenig and Josiah, and they're handed balls straight away. So Sweden, 1 player down. They need to make something of this set to start clawing their way back. And Josiah's left somewhat stranded up near the neutral zone, and he's hit out by Sarafic on that right side.
Really good awareness there from Sweden, and taking that hit on the player that's high up the court.
And Ben McAdam is hit out by Koenig's standing counter from backcourt. Oh, and that is a great standing counter.
Just 30 seconds left on the clock here.
But a 4-ball attack now from England. A good jump over. No pressure just yet. They've got 3 balls themselves. Sweden have to make a play from this. And only a single ball. A smart single ball.
Smart play from Sweden. Can England get the hit here?
They make a double hit.
So 2 players left on court for both teams.
And that, I believe, is a hit from the whistle.
Yeah, it is there. Sweden getting the last hit in the last second of the game there. Again, good awareness. The Swedes will be really happy taking those 2 points at the end of this half.
And those final seconds are always so clinical. A lot of people do think that only 2 seconds on the clock left, nothing really to do, but a great hit out. Abigail, unfortunately, just left near the neutral zone with a bit of pressure. And Sweden take that final set.
Although the scoreline is definitely one-sided at this moment in time, the games have been the sets have been fairly tight so far. England just making some really good decisions at the key points, and just kind of using their experience and dominating the games in the closing seconds of the sets.
Someone has asked a question, John. It'd be good to maybe get your opinion on this. With the amount of countries involved now, will there be a return of NEC and CEC to be qualifying for Euros?
It's a really good question, and we haven't seen the CEC was the last European competition before the pandemic, and that was a great level of competition. The NEC and CEC is there to offer a competitive opportunity to new teams, to new players, and kind of ease people in before a full-blown European championships like this. As the Euros is getting bigger and bigger and more countries are joining, I'm sure it's something the EDF committee are considering. I know it hasn't been spoken about yet, but it's definitely a sensible idea as the competition gets bigger and bigger, and it's even more difficult to find big enough venues to be able to host these teams. It's great to see that we've got the most teams ever after the last 2 years we've had, and we definitely weren't expecting that. but clearly the teams are all wanting to be here, and the countries have developed the sport over the last 2 years. Even though in difficult circumstances, we've got most of the teams here bringing 3 teams, which is fantastic to see. So as the competition does grow, I'm sure the NEC, the CEC are competitions that we could look to use as qualifiers, but I don't think that's
the case
to be
just
planned
yet.
for at the moment.
Yeah. So a couple of substitutions now for the England side, and I'm sure there will be a couple on the Swedish side as well. Finley Britnell Craven comes on for England. European debut?
It is, yes.
European debut, but not England debut.
England debut, so it's his first European competition. He made his England debut in the Home Nation Leagues that was run a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So he's definitely been a player that has been progressing up through the ranks and playing really well at club level as well.
Nathan David also on that left side, and Tamas Ward on the right side. Both very experienced players. Offer a lot of sort of tactical difference from what we saw in the first half. Tamas and Nathan will offer very high presses. I mean, they'll happily play their game and play how they need to. I'm sure we'll see some great dodgeball. Meg White also joins the field in the second half. Yeah, and a good listen there from Finn and Tamas there, both on the holes. They've got 4 balls in hand now.
So in the early seconds of this second half, England just making a few crucial hits there and finding themselves 3 players up.
Nice bit of press there by Tamas. Just making sure that they're taking as much time as possible with the 4 balls. And as the play ball's been called, Tamas is happily going to block every ball one by one.
In those situations there, that's exactly what Tamas is looking to do. He's looking to use the 5 seconds before the referee can call the play ball, wasting the time on the Swedish side and then forcing the Swedes to then have to make a very quick 3-ball attack that, as you saw there, was very erratic, and the balls were all released at different points. Good dodge in the middle there by Finley, just watching the ball and just dodging out of the way, keeping himself on the court.
Good block from Meg White. Sarafic with the running counter, but nothing comes of it, and Nathan David returns with a running counter from himself. One single ball there, a double run in, and a perfect running counter from Josiah and Gal there.
It really looks like England have been training this double running counter, especially to finish off the games there. We're seeing it all the time, and being very effective for the English as well.
So back underway now. Sweden yet again picking up that middle ball. They've done it a lot in this game so far. Oh, and a double.
I think he just avoided the second player there. It looked very, very close, but just a single hit there. Again, the player throwing out from the right-hand side of their play and getting that single ball hit that they wanted. Players currently level, 5 on each side. Again, Tamas offering that arm on the right-hand side, coming on for Josiah in the second half. Again, very similar throwing style with that whip, just creating a really nice angle, making it really unpredictable for the player in the middle as they look on the straight.
And a play 2 is called as they stand So they've got 5 seconds to make a call and start progressing. If nothing is come from that, or no intent is made from a play, the ref then will call a play ball call.
Sweden just down to 1 player. England will look to collect the 2 balls here. Ball's gone out wide.
And it's that double running counter that's ended plenty of sets here for England. Perfect timing.
The Swedish player trying to throw from a little bit further back on the court there to give themselves just that extra 1 or 2 steps to get to the back of the court. But England are coming out really quick there. It doesn't matter how far back you are, they're getting the hit on the retreating player.
Finn finally gets that middle ball that he's been after in the second half. And a bit of pressure from Sweden, but no running counter, and the ball comes over from a bit of miscommunication from the team. Probably could have been called a ball retrieval fault.
Yeah, I was unsure there. It could have been, but the referees haven't called it, so play continues.
Nathan David just picking up that nice pre-throw as he's on his way back to the corner. Oh, and a double hit from Nathan David there, and nearly picks up the catch behind his back.
He'll be disappointed in himself there, just trying to do a little too much in that situation.
Got a 4 or 5 ball attack here, and 1 hits the target, so it'll be a 5-on-1 now. A 5-on-1 now to close out this set. That will bring England to 22-2. And a 4th ball now.
Really good from England tactically there.
Yeah.
Mixing up the throws, allowing the women to throw in that situation, making sure the girls are keeping warm and making sure their throws are accurate, and the girls have been doing really well so far as well. So not seeing the boys dominating the throws, always asking for the balls, sharing out that workload between the players.
So as we come into about the last 8 minutes and a bit, this game has been very close in places. England in others have really dominated their sets, and that's a great throw from backcourt, takes out Nathan David, and the ball gets placed as still as can be. And that is a great throw there, just clipping Meg White in that region that she's not really going to go for the catch. But a 4-ball attack now.
Oh, we see the charge there from the Swedish player, getting the hit on the 1 player they wanted, but England taking the out as it was there. Sweden staying 1 player up.
Smart bit of play there. You've taken the 1 target, like we said, when you're up in that sort of situation, a 1-for-1 trade is a great sort of play to make. And a 3-ball there. Tamas Ward gets right underneath all 3. You'd love to be making a catch from that, but in that situation, it's not always what you want. And a good block from Ward on his track back as well.
For a tall player, Tamas has got down really well there, making himself a small target and ducking under all the balls.
And a single ball heads in towards... So a 3-ball yet again from England. 2, only 1 thrown, that's from Gower.
Sweden just trying to get the post throw on the throw there, but didn't get it, but a good single ball hit there from Ben McAdam.
And a nice bit of pressure from Sweden just to stop Gower coming forward.
good throw in there. Tamas unsure whether that hit him or not. The referee has called it out. Sweden going into the last 30 seconds with a 2-player advantage. Ben just speaking to the players there, making sure they're collecting the balls.
And a single ball is all that goes in the way, and a nice block also.
Really smart play by the Swedes, just playing smartly, releasing that one ball.
Just biding down that time. And a whip from Gower, but doesn't quite connect on the target. The dying seconds, Sweden do take the set. And although it may be a little too late, like we've said in a lot of these mixed and women's groups, it is damage limitation as much as possible. A timeout's called.
So England just calling a timeout there, probably just wanting to reset for the last couple of sets of this half. Both teams just coming into their own now. There, Sweden just being really smart with their tactics, managing the balls a lot better in that set, and England just being asked a few more questions. These 1-minute timeouts here are really short, but if the coaches are nice and concise with their messages, can get some real key message across to the players to give them some different options. So the 1-minute timeout is up, and both players returning to the court for the last 5 minutes and 19 seconds left. Sweden are going to be hoping for a few more points in this half as they close out, just to give them a bit of confidence going into their next games.
And the Spirit start, and it's Sweden that picked this one up. But Werner doesn't quite hit the target she wants from the start, and now a 5-ball attack from England. And that is probably the worst possible outcome from a 5-ball attack I could have ever seen. You've released all 5.
Again, the England coaches won't be happy with that. They're going to want to make sure that they're using those 5 balls, especially if they go into some tougher matches later on in the tournament. Making sure they get some hits, and no catching in that situation is not what they want to be seeing.
Oh, and a double hit there as Pickering jumps up. It clips her just enough to keep momentum to take out David back of court as well. So from a 5-ball attack a couple plays ago, we're now on to 4v2.
Sweden just trying to change it up tactically, making it a little bit more erratic and trying to catch England on their heels a little bit, which they've done really well.
They've done perfect in this set. So both teams release one. Meg White ducks under one, and the Swedish jump over the other.
Single ball release there, looking for the target, but again the Swedes just dodging that fairly easily.
And a nice block.
England just trying to manage the balls to put them in a position where Sweden are forced to throw.
Yeah. Nero there on that top left of your screen. She's the one that's applying that nice bit of pressure up against Meg White. And only a single ball release.
Single ball release there, coming from the middle, meaning the Swedes have then got the protection from the 2 wingers with the ball there. Again, really smart, simple tactical play there.
Meg White goes perfectly down for the catch, and it almost looks like it comes in, but the balls, especially on day one, slightly bouncier than a lot of people have spoken about. It's a new pumped up ball, and you're always going to look at that. Ben McAdam maybe with a slightly risky block.
But he's got away with it. just trying to force England to throw a few more throws.
And a debatable valid throw there, but Gower is deemed safe by the refs. And a 3-ball attack now. Gower's got 5 seconds left on the clock. She'd have to make an impressive double catch here.
Sweden don't need to throw, and they haven't thrown. Again, really good game management there by Sweden. Just coming into this, England need to try and just stop the momentum a little bit from the Swedes' erratic play. They're not going to be too worried being in so much control of this half, but again, England just looking to secure the last couple of points of this match. Good early hit there from the Swedes, getting the advantage. Winning a lot of that middle ball there as well, so good speed from the start.
And good honesty there from Torkelsen. So both teams now left. Well, England are actually up 5-4, make that 5-3. As they take out Tellstrom on that left side. A single ball attack in the way of Meg White. She hits it, but it heads back.
Couple balls bouncing back for the Swedes somehow. They've hit the post from the nets.
And a block from Ward and David on either side of the wings. McAdam with a pressure there, and both single balls miss.
England feeling there he's in a bit of a vulnerable position, but not getting the hit on the player that they wanted. As you can see, he was a key out and making that catch there.
And only 10 seconds left now. Both teams equal. Ward probably should have taken the hit on McAdam as he's down on the catch, but a block.
Sweden getting the hit there as well, but just not enough time to finish off there, with both teams finishing with 3 players left on the side of the court.
So the final score of the game, 23-7, a great result there for England. Sweden probably slightly disappointed, but definitely not off the mark in terms of how each set played out.
Sweden did really well to come back into the game in the final part of the second half. They'll be really pleased with the way that they played and tactically grew into that game, hoping to take that momentum into their next fixture.
Yep, so we'll head off on a lunch break now, but we'll be back at 2:10 for Scotland against Switzerland in the men's division. Certainly plenty to look out for on that game, and I'll be joined back here with John. But for now, thank you very much, John.
Thanks, Greg. See you after lunch.
See you after lunch.